hot mess of a video. I feel like it's a hot mess. Hey everyone, welcome back to Rima Reads. So today I'm going to go over the first wrap-up of the year, my January wrap-up, as well as talk through my February TBR. So I read 6 books in the month of January, which is a lot, but to be fair, 5 of them were rereads. So we're gonna go through this wrap-up real quick. The first book I reread in January was Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. You guys have probably heard me talk about this book like a billion times on this channel, so it's amazing, it's great, 5 stars. One day I really want to do like a full video explaining all of my thoughts on it, but I have so many, you guys. I have too many thoughts, and I literally don't even know how to like make a coherent video on Rhythm of War. So for now, I am still planning that video. It will come out eventually one day in the future. But anyways, that was the first book I read. It was great. Love it. The next books I read were the Graceling Realms series by Christine Cashore. And I did a whole ass review video on that series. Link it in the cards. And so I don't want to talk through them again here. But anyways, also great. Also love them. Amazing. Great book. And then the last book I reread in January is City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. And I will actually talk about this one, y'all. So this who took place... I can't speak, y'all. So this book takes place in this world where there are these gods and divinities that basically like roam the land. This country called the continent worshipped these divinities, and they had the ability to basically like shape reality as they saw fit, and they had like miracles and lots of magical things going on in this country. The continent also basically colonized and enslaved the country of Sepur. So Sepur ended up rebelling and murdering the divinities. So this book starts off 75 years after the divinities, the gods, have been killed. And at this point in time, the continent is basically kind of really poor, decimated. They lost a lot in the war after their divinities died, and so Sepur kind of controls them / reversed colonization. The story starts out with our main character Shahara. Maybe it's Shara. Is it Shah? I think it's Shara. So our main character Shara is a spy for Sepur, and she gets called into the city of Bulkov to investigate the murder of Dr. Ephraim something, who was a historian, a Sepur historian studying the divinities in the continent. And he is murdered, and Shara goes to the city of Bulkov to investigate his murder. And so this story is part mystery on Shara figuring out what happened in this really, really cool world. I read this book 3 years ago, and my review from 3 years ago was... This was a solid fantasy series. Like, I didn't have any particular attachments to the characters, but they were all interesting enough. The world building was really cool, and I would like to read more in this world. Overall, a good read. That is what I wrote on Goodreads, and I gave it 4 stars. And I still feel like that is a very valid assessment of this book. The world building in this book is phenomenal. It's such a cool world, and I am very excited to actually read the rest of this series. I did not have any particular attachments to the characters, though, and I think that's just me and Robert Jackson Bennett, who is a plot-driven author, but you know, it's fine. I think 4 stars is accurate on how I felt about this book. The first half is pretty slow. The last, 100 pages, it really picks up, and, all these things come together, and it's just really, really cool. And like I mentioned, I just love the world so much. So this book was a Shelf Space book club pick for the month of January. So it was really fun reading it with everyone. And I know a lot of people on that server didn't like Shara as a character. Shahara? I don't know. I thought she was enjoyable. I pretty much felt the same about all of the characters. Like, I thought they were all enjoyable, but didn't feel too much more. I do have a lot of thoughts on the character Bohannes, and so I think I will have to post a whole review once I finish reading these books and I can get into those thoughts. But like, DM me if you want to hear them. Yeah, I had a lot of thoughts on his character. But overall, I thought it was a great book. The mystery was very interesting, and I am so excited to read the rest of this series. And yeah, now on to my February TBR. If you haven't already figured it out, I immediately checked out City of Blades, which is the second book in this Divine Cities trilogy by Robert Jackson Bennett, and have already started reading it, so that is number 1 on my TBR. It does follow a character, a different character, Mugalish, who is a side character in the first book, and this book is following her point of view, and it takes place 5 years after the events of City of Stairs, and so far I am really enjoying it. So we'll see how intense I get after the end of this book on whether I want to just immediately dive into the third book, because there is a good chance I will do that. So that's already 2 books on my February TBR. As some of you may know, one of my reading goals this year was to read a nonfiction book a month, and that didn't happen in January. The nonfiction book I was going to read was Doing Harm. I think I got 1/3 of the way through, but I think I am struggling. Like, the 2 nonfiction books that I'm currently reading, it's been currently reading for a while, are both like really data heavy books. Invisible Women and Doing Harm, they're both very, very data heavy books, and I read right before I go to bed, and I keep just like falling asleep, or I keep being like not even sleepy, but I'll be like, is it time for bed yet? I think it's time for bed now. And so I think I'm going to put a pause on these data heavy books and try and read a nonfiction book that is more like story based, so like a biography or a memoir or something. I think that's what I need to focus on going forward. So this month I am going to read The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skaloot. That's a fun last name. Because February is Black History Month, I think this is a really good book to read, because Henrietta Lacks is an African-American woman whose cells were taken for research, and basically kind of helped all of modern medicine, but her story is largely unknown. So that is the nonfiction book I will be reading in February, and hopefully I will actually read it. So in addition to that book, I have a couple of buddy reads that I signed up for this month, and I don't know how many of them I will get to, so we're going to talk through them. The first buddy read I signed up for is hosted by Alan from Library of Alexandria, and I'll post the link below, and they are reading Red Rising by Pierce Brown this month, and I have owned Red Rising for like 3 years, and I don't usually keep books on my physical TBR unread, but this one just has been sitting on my shelf, and so this is the perfect time to read it because other people are there forcing me to read it. So I don't actually know too much about this book. I know it is sci-fi, Hunger Game-esque, revenge story sort of thing, and that's all I know. I've heard mixed things about this book, so I'm wondering whether or not I will like it, but I do love the Hunger Games, though I don't like very many books that are similar to the Hunger Games but aren't the Hunger Games, you know what I mean? I'm all like, you're not as good as the Hunger Games. So we'll see how much I like this book, and I'm very excited to read it with Alan's Discord group. So the next buddy read that I signed up for is Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This buddy read is hosted by Jessie May over at her channel, so I will link that down below. And again, this is a book that I just don't know that much about, so I'm sorry that all of these like summaries are so shitty, you guys. Apologies. I don't know too much about this. I've read Rebecca Roanhorse's other series, A Trail of Lightning, and I think it's great. And I've heard so many amazing things about Black Sun, and so I am very excited to read it if I get to it this month. So the last buddy read I signed up for is taking place on the Self-Published In, which is a Discord server that reads self-published books. And this is their first monthly book pick, so I really do want to get to it. And it's Wildcat by J.P. Harper. And I honestly don't know what this book is about either, but I do want to read more self-published authors, so that's why that is on the list. So the next book I want to read in the month of February is Sweet Dreams by J. Clarice. This is also a self-published novel, and the author DM'd me on Instagram, and usually I don't respond to these, or I'm like, but this one actually piqued my interest. It is a YA fantasy novel. It takes place where this girl, Scarlet, gets pulled into this realm of dreams, and it sounded really, really cool, and it fits my requirement of self-published, as well as, since it's Black History Month, I do want to support Black authors, and so I really want to get to this book this month as well. The next book I kind of want to try to read in the month of February is An In Kindness of Ghosts by River Solomon. I had planned on reading this book in October, but I had too many books to read in October, so that didn't happen. So now I'm putting it again in a month where I have too many books to read, so who knows if it'll happen. But Black History Month, so another Black author I would like to support. This book is a sci-fi novel where our main character, Aster, is aboard this spaceship, and apparently it's real shitty. These are such bad explanations, you guys. I'm so sorry. Either way, it's a real shitty situation, and they don't treat her well, and I think oppressive ship, and so she is trying to fight for her rights, and for her people's rights on the ship before they get to the mystical promised land. Oh my god, this is so bad. Okay, anyways, that's another book I want to read this month. And then the last book I kind of want to read this month, if I can, is The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. This is the third book in the Poppy War series, and I read the second one, The Dragon Republic, in December, and I don't want to keep pushing off reading the last book in this series because I don't want to forget it. I want to, finish it. I'm so close. And so I am very excited to read this book, but then again, I have so many books on my February TBR, and it's just it's too much, y'all. It's too much. And so we'll see how many of these books I will get to. That was how many books on my TBR. 9 books on my TBR, which is definitely not going to happen. So I will be happy if I get to 4 out of these 9 books. That's what I'm setting my goal as. But those are all of the books I kind of want to try to read this month. I don't know why I said that so weirdly. Sorry about this hot mess of a video. That literally provided no information on any of the books that I read or will be reading. So I will be very impressed if you actually watched this video all the way through. But let me know what you guys are reading in the month of February. Super excited to hear your guys' thoughts. Thank you all for watching. Bye!